Peace, guys, and welcome back to Urban Eating After Hours. I always say it so fast, Urban Eating After Hours, with your host, Taryn Lewis. We are back with another episode, and today I have another guest. We are in a familiar place, though. We are in the Urban Eating warehouse today, and then we have our guest, Kim. Her business is Creole Secret, and she does an essential oil business, which is fitting for today because we're gonna be talking about essential oils. Kim and I have went live on Instagram before, where she's invited me on her live to talk about essential oils before, and we had a really great conversation. So we're just sitting back down again today so that we can have another conversation about essential oils and dig just a little bit deeper in person. So Kim, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. Do you want to tell us?
In person.
It's always good to see you. It's always good to see you. Tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and your business as well.
Okay. I'm Kim. I'm the founder and CEO of Creole Secret Therapeutic Aromatherapy. I'm also a clinical microbiologist, which means working in a lab and getting that the stuff that comes from your body to find like a drug, I guess, for doctors to figure out what you need, identifying it. I won't get too deep because it gets really gross.
Sciencey. I'm like, ooh.
So, and I also went through aromatherapy certification program. So, pretty much I'm a science geek, and I'm here in Atlanta, and I create therapeutic essential oil blends for your mind, body, and soul. So, just from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, inside and out. In a nutshell, that's pretty much it.
So what got you interested in aromatherapy? Like, how did you just even start down the path?
So I always like to say, from my name says it all, Creole Secret. My mom's side of the family, they're Creole, Louisiana, Texas. And they, for our family, we were like herbs and just even essential oils to heal. And when me being in the science part, which in the lab, I was at a crossroad for my career, and I knew that I didn't want to, because at the end of the day, drugs, chemical drugs, not really down for it, even though technically I do that still, but that's my 9 to 5 until I jump. But I knew that it was more for me, my plan, my purpose. So pretty much that's how I created it. And from my love of healing, because that's one of my callings is I'm a healer. And I also am a plant person. So essential oils come from plants. They heal, healing properties.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
I definitely connect with everything that you're saying, because that was essentially what even got me into aromatherapy. And I was just going to definitely put it on camera, because I don't know if I probably talked about it before, but it was a minute ago. But pretty much my interest in herbs, and then creating soaps. And when I created the soaps, one of the first soaps that I ever made was a lavender soap. And so when I put lavender herbs and lavender essential oils, it was just something literally went off in my brain. I could literally feel that feeling that when I made this, when I held the bar of soap that I made, and I was like, you could put herbs and essential oils into soap. Because growing up, a lot of us probably use Dove and Lever 3000, and none of those have lavender or tea tree or peppermint in those soaps. So we didn't grow up with that connection that you could pretty much use these. And so when I decided to actually create Urban Eating as a brand and take the soap and make it into a business, one of our values that we said we were going to stick to is to always use plants. And so in order to use plants, you have to use essential oils. And we can that could be one of our first topics that we talk about, is the difference between essential oils and synthetic fragrances, because that was one thing that I had to dive deeper into and learn about, because a lot of soaps, of course, are made with synthetic fragrances, and if that's your MO, if that's what you want to do, that's up to you. And there are people who love the smell of bubble gum, and there are people who love cotton candy. So there's a place for everything. But our situation is plant-based, as her shirt says. It's a plant-based situation, okay?
Yes, it definitely is. And I think that I love your story. It's so inspiring, especially you mentioned about your aunt or someone being a soap person, or
oh yes, I have an ancestor, a great aunt who was a soap maker. That was wild. I found that out a couple of years
after. Isn't that how crazy,
yes.
divine, it's just just everything just comes together.
Yeah, that's why I say, I don't know why, but when I read a craft book and I saw soap making, like it just stuck out to me. It just stuck out to me, and I see why it probably stuck out now. Yeah, let's talk about the difference between essential oils and synthetic oils. I mean, you work in the lab, so if you want to explain to us the difference between the two and any research that you've done, I'm excited to hear your knowledge as well.
Okay, so we'll start with the basics. Essential oils come from an extensive list, but I'm just going to stick to highlights: flowers of like petals, bark, roots, trees. Yes, anything that you can think of when you walk outside or in a forest or in your own backyard. And they have different ways to distill essential oils. So it's not just like so much essential oils. It's like something called CO2, or that's another way, hydrosols. So they take express the oil is the word we'll use for it, from those leaves, bark, trees, whatever, and it comes out, and then that's what we use, which is the essence of the what we just said.
The plant.
Yeah, of the
I
plant.
like to say the spirit, like the essence or the spirit, because to me it's like essentially like captivating the spirit of the plant.
Yeah, so and then so that is natural, and then we have fragrance oils, which are made in a factory. It's like chemically produced. And I always like to say, you know, we live in 2021, like everything can be duplicated.
It sure can.
For the most part, anything and everything. They're duplicating people almost, probably somewhere secretly. So, you know, why not, if people, it's cheaper, number one, for fragrance oil. But if you think about it in that way, production-wise, it's cheaper to make a fragrance oil, and they still can make you feel like you're smelling that lavender or that rose, compared to doing it the natural way.
But the most important thing, I mean, because they can replicate, and they can replicate even expensive ones like sandalwood and neroli, and you can think that, but it's important to know the difference between a synthetic and an essential oil. And the reason why it's important to know the difference is because essential oils in particular have aromatherapeutic benefits. So they affect, like you were saying earlier, the mind, body, and the soul. So they can help to balance out the emotions. They can help to elevate your mental state, stimulate it, help it to relax. And synthetic fragrances, pretty much when you smell them, it's essentially just a smell good product. It smells good. They might take just a little kind of geekiness, but there's particular constituents in essential oils, so particular chemicals. Say, for instance, like a sandalwood has santal in it, and they will probably isolate that compound and maybe put it into a fragrance oil and then create it to be the likeness of that. But essential oils, like I was saying before, even those various compounds, they still have these powerful benefits that can help you. So I was reading, we both have our books. But I was going back over my book, the Encyclopedia of Essential Oils, and they were talking about the history of essential oils, and they were saying that they really became like popular, or really became a thing in France, which I know like perfumery is really popular. I want to go to France one day, by the way. I want to go to France.
That is on my list too.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go to France one day so that I can experience making some perfume. But they were saying that lavender essential oil, which is like one of the most popular essential oils, was like one of the ones that a scientist was working with the lavender essential oil, and he found out like that I think he had a burn or a cut, and found out that lavender literally helped to heal that cut, and it helped to heal that burn. And so he was amazed by that, and he coined the term aromatherapy, I believe, because make no mistake about it, essential oils have been around since the beginning of time. They have been a big part of cultures for a long, long time.
And just to add on that, I was trying to find the name of the guy. Actually, it was called aromatherapy, like PIE, and then we changed it to Y. But for aromatherapy. But you're right, he did have a burn, and then he found like that lavender oil helped him with the healing of the burn. And what did you you said something right before that.
I said that he helped with the burns.
Oh, the
scarring.
Around the world, aromatherapy has been used.
Yes.
And I love from Asia to Egypt. I learned that the people that would roll the mummies and they would use different oils for the embalming process.
Yep.
The queen of, I might be wrong,
Sheba?
Yeah. I don't know why I wanted to say Nefertiti, and maybe her too.
Probably so.
But they use them for ritual ceremonies.
Yes.
So if you think about that, and if you think about the BC era, like all those things, like even when it was like, gosh, I really am digging deep for this this history lesson. Basically, the ones who helped like the pharaoh, and so this is like a long, like you said, a long time ago.
Yes.
And if you move forward in history, you also have for those people who know about Christianity, the baby Jesus. They gave the three wise men frankincense, myrrh, and gold for the baby, and they said that it wasn't the gold that was the most expensive; it was the frankincense and myrrh. Because it was hard to come by, as well as it helped the mother soothe the baby. And for people who have kids, they're like, hey, I'm going to take that, especially a crying newborn.
Yes.
So it had many values, frankincense and myrrh, back even, like we're going back in the day, you know. So, but other different cultures have used it.
For a long time.
Jasmine.
Yes, that's deep. And even neroli oil, they said it's named after a princess, an Italian princess. I think it was from Nerola, Italy. She was from Nerola, Italy, and she really loved the oil a lot. So the oil is essentially named after her, well, because she's from Nerola, so they called it neroli. So, I mean, literally like ancient situations that we're dealing with here. And I kind of wanted to touch on when you said how they used it for like cleansing and how they used it in rituals, which is really important because, I mean, just in our business, in particular in Urban Eden, I mean, we're more so for natural body care, your personal hygiene, and taking a bath, essentially like with the bar of soap, which we have a bar of soap here, so you can see, but putting an essential oil into the soap and then a shower essentially is a ritual. It's something that you do every day. And a ritual doesn't always have like a negative connotation in a sense, or a taboo. I know that rituals or things can be taboo for people, but a ritual is essentially something that you do every day. And even essentially, like if you're a Christian, if you go to church every Sunday, that's a ritual that you have. But taking a shower every day is a ritual.
Right.
If you like to pray before you go to bed, that's a ritual. Or if you have to put your slippers in a particular part of the room, that's a ritual. So to the fact that they used it, and I think that the reason why they used, well, based off of what I read, like frankincense and myrrh were highly regarded when it came to like meditation or when it came to ritual. And I think because it puts you into this like peaceful state of mind, it really helps your mind to focus on, say like if you're doing meditation and you need to focus on your breath, or you need to focus on just being grounded within yourself, like an essential oil can help you to focus on that. It can help your mental to be balanced. So, I mean, when we say that this is powerful stuff, I have very high regard, and I would definitely think that Kim does too, but we have very high regard for essential oils. So like when you see, look, I'm gonna go into this, to the soaps. Yes. So when you see like, you'll see on our prior YouTube, one of our YouTube episodes that we did, where I did a live and I was just talking about why these soaps right here cost more than they do. Most of our soaps sell for $6, but we're selling these for $20 because we're using expensive essential oils in them. And essentially, even just making soaps with essential oils are highly regarded. They're highly prized, but some are different on the price scale. So you can have more affordable ones, and some more affordable ones are like lavender, peppermint,
Orange,
tea tree, orange. Oh, and I'll come back to that thought since you're speaking of orange. But those are more affordable ones. And then you have some that are more expensive, just like Kim mentioned earlier, frankincense and myrrh, because they're harder to get this. Well, it takes a lot
resin.
more.
It comes from the resin of a tree.
Of the resin of the tree. And it takes a lot more plant material to get that essential oil or that resin.
And I think some of them do have to be harvested at certain times.
Yep.
So it's a whole big experience going on. It's not like these people, and these people I mean by because they're in other parts of the world. So whoever has like the trees, the Botswana tree, and they, you know, like they they have to get them at certain times of the year? What if they have a drought? What if they, like, there's so many things. What if there's a
so
fire?
many factors, yes.
You know, like this is all nature. So we rely on nature to do what nature's supposed to do, so that we can get these essential oils to us.
So it's a whole microcosm of environmental, like just from the environmental to the spirituality of how everything goes. So these soaps cost a little bit more because of the essential oils. And speaking, since you started even talking about trees, like for instance, our Adam soap is made with sandalwood and Indian sandalwood. I have to be very specific. And the reason why we're very specific about where it comes from, because different essential oils come from different places. A lot of them come from Egypt, a lot come from India. Most of the time they're gonna come from these tropical places because that's where plants typically thrive, in these tropical areas. And so like an Indian sandalwood, and then there's particular ways of growing them, like she was saying. So we use Indian sandalwood, which is the most expensive essential oil, or the most expensive sandalwood essential oil. There's different ones like an Australian sandalwood. I don't know. I think there's another one, but they have some other ones. Australian sandalwood. So Australian and Indian, both of them are the most regarded. Indian is just a little bit more regarded because it takes 30 years for the tree to mature, so that they can harvest the heartwood of it to create it. Australian sandalwood is also highly regarded because it takes 20 years for that tree to grow into maturity so that they can harvest it. So that's why when I say like this is no light work, because, and like you were saying, the growing period really matters. So even as a farmer, a person that's farming these particular trees, they have to know the particular growing season. Their crop has to be in a particular rotation so that they can make room for the fact that it takes this tree 20 years to grow, and knowing that it needs to be produced in a particular manner or to meet the masses. Let's smell some sandalwood. So we have Indian. I think that's the only one that he gave us. Let me smell it one more time. This is like sipping fine wine. This is exactly what this is like.
Close my eyes and just like allow the aroma to go into my nose, into my brain, and just kind of like get that feeling. But one thing I wanted to tell your people, like that don't put directly the essential oils on your skin.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it can burn.
Yes.
So a lot of them do that. They can burn your skin.
Yes, thank you for bringing up that point. That was a very, very important point. And a funny story to tell right quick. Because Quentin, one time I had put like a blend of essential oils together as like a bug repellent. And he like took the whole just blend and just put it directly on him, and his face was burning. So he learned that day that you don't put essential oils directly on you. You want to put them in a carrier oil. So like if you see, we have our like our Adam and Eve oils here, and we put this in a blend of oils, so that way we're still able to get the vibes of the essential oils, but you put it in a carrier oil so that it's safe, because another name for essential oils is volatile oils, and they're heavily concentrated, and for some reason volatile doesn't necessarily mean violent, but it makes me think violent. And so it's a volatile oil. It evaporates really easily, but just when it comes into the skin, because it's so heavily concentrated, it can irritate the skin. So also be mindful of that. Everybody has different skin types, and some people's skin are more sensitive than others. So it could be that a particular essential oil might not particularly go well on your skin. They do have more sensitive ones, but definitely just trying out like a drop or two in a little bit of oil is a good way to do a skin patch test to see if it works for you. All you have to do is try a small spot so that you're not having a full-blown reaction.
I did that. I had a mole, the kind that like kind of stick out, and so I knew like, oh, you can use like clove, and you can use frankincense. So I'm thinking like, oh, I know what I'm doing, and I mean, not that I didn't know, but I wanted to accelerate the mole to fall off. So I created a concoction of oils, and I put it directly on my skin. And when I tell you guys, like the pink meat was showing, it burned so bad that. I mean, the mole fell off and it hasn't come back, and but
so that helped.
Yes, and so when it happened, and that's when I used a carrier oil with it, because but I had to wait to let the burn heal.
Yes.
So it gets, I mean, it
You
took
gotta
my
go
skin
through
off.
it. Yes.
So, and it was all because I was like, oh, I know, it's just like a couple drops. So, and I should have known better because that's something that we learn.
Yes.
That's aromatherapy essential oils 101.
Yes, that's one of the first things. And I think that that's a good disclaimer to make just in general when it comes to plants. I do want to say while we're here that plants are amazing. Plants have really good properties, but don't forget there are poisonous plants. And in a very high concentration, some plants can be toxic. They can cause you nausea, and there are plants that can cause death. There are some plants that can cause that. So you want to just always, when you're working with plants or dealing with plant-based items, of course, as the makers, we're going to make sure that they meet a safety guidelines. But even as a person, if you decide to work with plants in any matter, just know that you want to highly regard what you are working with. You're not working with something this is not a toy. It's not a toy. So let's say that it's not a toy, and that's why the soaps cost what they cost, because they're not a toy either.
But think about how many benefits you guys have with this soap, right? We said it smells good, so it provides aromatherapy. The oils inside of it help your skin. So if it's aging skin, mature or youthful wanting skin, it helps with that. It helps with moisturizing. There's so many benefits with all the oils and the Adam and Eve. So it's like a multi-purpose soap.
It really is. And that's one thing that even when we decided to just work with essential oils, I started to learn more about aromatherapy and just realized that it's not just smelling and it smells good and then it has this therapeutic benefit. A lot of because it's the spirit of the plant, they take on what the plant already has. So even though plants are immobile, like we're mobile creatures, but even though plants are immobile, they have these various ways to fight off things, combat environmental factors. So a lot of them have like antiviral properties, antibacterial properties, antimicrobial properties, and that in a way, like even some of their scents that they give off are good ways to be like, don't mess with me or different things like that. So the essential oils take on those properties of the plants. So that's why like using like a eucalyptus or peppermint and oregano, lemon, they can help with like antiviral, antibacterial, especially during these times when we're fighting off a virus, utilizing. And not to say that it's a heal-all, but it has ways to help balance the body. And speaking of which, when you were talking about like one of the soaps being like, or one of the essential oils and the soaps helping them with like skin conditioning, what came to mind was the rose. So we have the Rose Bulgaria, which is one of the best ones, and we have Rose Absolute from Morocco. So let's smell the Bulgarian one, because this is that number one right here. Yes, and when I first smelled rose, it was last year. Somebody gave me a little bit of it, and I felt like it was earlier this year, and it was such an honor to smell real rose. Like it literally was an honor for me, and I would carry it around in my purse, and then whenever I just felt stressed or anything, I would just smell it, and it put me at ease.
Do you ever go to the grocery store and go buy the fresh cut flowers?
Yes.
And sometimes, honestly, for me, it's a hit or miss when I smell roses now. They don't smell like this.
Because sometimes they put formaldehyde in flowers. And
do they?
I actually get, yes, and that's why I technically don't buy flowers from like Kroger and or sorry to say a name, but from the bigger grocery stores, because they use formaldehyde to keep it preserved.
Really?
And that's what I smell.
That.
Okay, so I don't know if you knew that.
No.
Yes. That's what I pick up when I smell it, is formaldehyde. So that's why I don't like to smell that. But Rose Absolute reminds me of a bouquet of flowers.
Yes.
Every time I smell it,
right.
it gives garden.
A pure bouquet of flowers. You're right.
So I definitely... I beseech you guys to definitely try to smell some real rose. Now, this is a really expensive essential oil, so it can be hard to kind of get your hands on it sometimes. It was given to me as a gift, and that's when I started to learn more about essential oils or the more expensive ones, because that was like something that I wasn't privy to before. I was just utilizing the more affordable ones, but to actually smell the ones that are more expensive is like you literally only want to use like a drop or two, and you just want to be more cautious with it because it's really kind of prized. Like to smell that is a prize.
What about this? Morocco.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
we didn't smell the
difference?
Morocco. Let's definitely smell the difference. I love that the oil is kind of like, well, this one is a little bit more rosy.
And the reason why I'm saying it like that is because I use a rose Bulgaria Absolute in my blend, but because it's so expensive,
Yeah.
I don't venture out to
To
I didn't
try
have a friend
other
that's,
ones?
you said you got yours as a gift. They don't send those like gifts too much, so they really loved you because this is like one of the most expensive oils.
They really wanted to put me up on game. So this is, I looked up like the top 10 most expensive oils. Rose Absolute is in there. Sandalwood is in there, and we use both of those in these particular soaps right here. So we're using some of the most expensive oils. Frankincense was also in there. Let's smell some frankincense too. Man, frankincense and myrrh, they smell ancient and they smell holy to me.
They do.
That's what they give. So I definitely use these to purify the house. Now myrrh sometimes is a little weird to me. It definitely has to be blended.
Weird. But I can smell the tree.
You smell the tree?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very I'm making my word tree. It's very tree. Like
It's very tree.
it smells like I walked up to a tree and smelled the bark or something.
Ooh. We have a blend that we're gonna come out with at some point, but that's the vibe of it. It's supposed to be tree. It's like spruce and laurel. Oh my gosh. I want it to smell like you walked into a forest. Like,
that's nice.
That's what I love about essential oils. It's like taking a shower. And that's why even something that's like lavender, which is super popular, to me is like having a stressful day. And you could have a stressful day if you're a stay-at-home mom, and you could have a stressful day if you've been out in the workforce or at school dealing with a bunch of kids or what have you. And to come home and to take a shower with a lavender soap and just really take that time to just be like, I know that I had a crazy day earlier today, but all is well right now. It can make you feel, an essential oil can make you feel like all is well. It can really put you into that frame of mind where you really just focus on yourself. And so that's what I love about essential oils. When we say mind, body, and soul and that connection, it's like your mind is sharp when you smell the essential oil. Your body is getting the luxurious benefits of using an essential oil, whether it be the antibacterial properties, the antimicrobial properties, if you're trying to get rid of a mold.
Hey, don't do what I did, y'all.
Your body, they can be bug repellents. They can make you feel love. They can make you feel beauty. And then that soul. Your soul, because this is essentially the soul of the plant, it connects with the soul of you, which I don't know, we don't want to be all super deep and spiritual, but all is one. I don't know if you can answer this for me, but the citrus oils, are they all, are majority of them CO2 extractions?
No.
No, okay. Ylang-ylang. So we're smelling ylang-ylang right now, y'all. Ylang-ylang, they consider to be the perfect perfume. It has a top, middle, and a base note. Now, it can be like an acquired smell.
Yeah, some people like it, some people don't.
Yes.
I like it, but as I was telling you earlier, that I have to be in the mood for some oils.
Yes, that's true.
So today, when I was making a blend, it has ylang-ylang in it, and I liked it today, but it doesn't mean I always like it.
Right. Same for
But some
me.
people, that's their favorite oil
Yes.
consistently. So you're right.
I went to Costa Rica last month, and I have this plant ID app, and I was identifying this plant. I just saw this beautiful tree, and I take a picture of it, and it says ylang-ylang. I was mind blown. I was like,
No way.
That before me right now is the ylang-ylang tree right here.
That's
so I just
cool.
picked a piece of the plant and smelled it. So you can really get the scent. I've also encountered a lemon eucalyptus tree at a random Airbnb. I picked the leaf and crushed it a little bit, and I was getting lemon eucalyptus. I actually smelled it and was a little congested, and it was clearing up my congestion.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's
The
what
oil that you right? The oil, you said that for your the soap that you guys will make next, it's gonna be great for respiratory because anything that has to do with like pine needles, that's used for respiratory and opening up like the sinuses. Some people only think eucalyptus is like that or peppermint, but it's actually those from the tree needles and like spruce is a good one too. for those properties. So
Yes,
I can't wait
pine.
to smell that one.
It's gonna smell really good. I wanted to use pine, but pine is kind of sharp. The scent is kind of sharp, so I used like a rosewood. I used the spruce and cypress. I've really been intrigued by cypress lately, but yeah, I just love you can literally just go up to a plant. Some plants are more fragrant than others, and some of them are a little bit more woodsy, more floral. We could go on and on about essential oils all day. It's literally a world. Like aromatherapy is literally a field of study, one that I'm interested in getting into, just more so in learning more of the geeky things about it. But for now, I really enjoy essential oils, and so I just wanted you guys to understand that when we make these products, that it really is like very intentional. It's very intentional when we create the products. What goes into the products is made with intention. Just understanding that if I'm coming out with the Eve soap and I want to dive into the femininity, I'm going to find essential oils that are going to make you feel more feminine, more soft. With the Adam, we were going for a masculine vibe, and we went for essential oils that were more woodsy and a little bit more spicy and earthy. So it's really intentional, and it will make you feel some type of way. And of course, smells are not created equal. All noses aren't created equal. Some things that smell good to others might not smell good to you, but I definitely think it's worth a try, just to experience real essential oils in body care products, in your what are those things called where you put it in there?
Like a
Steam
diffuser?
yes,
Yes.
Lord. In
Yep,
the diffuser. So really be cautious when you use essential oils. I think that just bringing it all together as far as what we talked about today is be cautious when using them, but you will get an experience from them, and also understand that it takes a lot. We didn't touch on this. We talked about sandalwood, but in rose is so expensive because what did they say? It takes a ton.
Yes,
one
of
ton
leaves. I mean, petals.
of petals. And it's not saying like, oh, it takes a ton. No, it literally takes 1 ton.
Yes.
Of petals.
Yep.
To make, I don't know how much.
It's like a few drops. It's not like it's not gonna fill up a whole bottle
Right.
for a ton of petals, because if you think about how thin they are.
Yes.
So how do you express oil or something out of like a thin little like petal?
Yeah, you gotta.
It takes a lot.
You really extracting
Yeah.
a lot of it.
So
yeah, that's why it costs a lot. It takes a lot of a plant material to even create these essential oils. So that's why they should be highly regarded as well, because you're literally getting that spirit, that essence of that plant, and inviting it into your being as well. And it's a full-on experience. So. Yeah, I'm so thankful that we were able to come together and talk about this, because we both, just in general conversation, we both know that we love essential oils. Like, essential oils are everything for us. Like I said, we can go on and on.
right, we could. Hey, and especially like, because I appreciate that you are staying true to the Urban Eden, like the motto of like, you guys are truly using like the essences of the earth, and it's not fragrance. And even from the first time that we crossed paths, and I mean, it's amazing, and I feel like so connected to y'all, because it's like having like a cousin. Like, I have my business, and then you guys are like my cousin business, because it's not, you guys don't say, well, I'm gonna try some fragrance oils because it's fall and I want to make a pumpkin scented one, because
Pumpkin don't make essential oils.
right, exactly. So I just appreciate you guys. Like, it's just, I feel like it's just a blessing that just see how you guys have grown.
Thank
man.
you.
Like,
Thank you.
amazing.
It's certainly an honor. And I know one thing that's big to us is continuing to stay true. Honestly, the true value of essential oil for us, like you said, is using the essence of the earth. Like, I will never waver on that. People have always said, oh, can you make a blueberry soap, or can you make a bubblegum soap? And no, I won't, because if it's not an essential oil, if it doesn't come from a plant, it's not going in Urban Eden products. So.
And guess what else? Like, because from the beginning, I've had your products, your soaps. I've used it for my wedding. People
Yes, you
3
did.
years ago,
Yes.
they still have that soap, and I'm like, y'all, for real?
They
like,
put it in the linen.
Yeah,
They put it in
I don't
linen
know.
system.
They said, oh, I still got it. You think it's good? I said, well, I mean, at this point, I don't know, because like, that was so long ago, and then like, it just smelled so good, and I didn't want to use it, and I'm like, it's soap, like, you're supposed to use it.
Yes, and get some more. So,
Yes.
so you can keep experiencing
One lady
it.
actually said that. She was like, well, I'm gonna get some more, and I'm like, okay, good, here's the website, because Like, I don't know, what are you guys doing with it?
Right.
Like,
Some people do just keep it in their linen closet or their sock drawer so that it can smell good, but soap is meant to be put on the body. Get some essential oil if you just want this stuff to smell and put it in like a sachet. That's an age-old like remedy that a lot of people use for odor. So yes, thank you so much. Kim legit does use our products as well. And then like she said, for her wedding, it was in 2017.
2018.
2018.
Yes.
Dang, I'm like, I thought I remembered the date. But in 2018, and we actually made soaps for her wedding. So, I mean, just that love and just understanding essential oils and respecting what each other does is a blessing. So thank you, Kim, for joining me. I appreciate you. Y'all, please be sure to check out. We'll put the link in our description as well. But please be sure to check out Creole Secret. She makes some really cool roll-ons with essential oils so that it helps to balance the mind, the body, and the soul, like she says. And of course, check out our Urban Eden products. If you haven't yet, get into this Adam, into this Eve. Get into it. I'm telling you, it's a whole different experience. Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. That's how I'm gonna end this one. Peace, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us. Peace.